In the heart of the American West, where the sun scorches the earth like a branding iron and secrets fester in the shadows of sagebrush, a little girl's desperate whisper shattered the silence of a forgotten ranch. "Can you take her instead of me?" She begged the grizzled rancher, her eyes wide with terror. But he said nothing, then took both. If this chilling tale of survival, betrayal, and redemption grips you from the start, smash that subscribe button right now and join our community of thrill seekers across the USA and UK. Don't miss out on more heart-pounding stories that keep you up at night. The sun hung low over the jagged horizon of Montana's Badlands, casting long shadows across the weathered wooden fence that encircled the old Hawthorne ranch. 8-year-old Lily Hawthorne clutched her rag doll, Betsy, tighter than ever, her tiny fingers white-knuckled against the faded fabric. The doll had been her mother's, a relic from a happier time before the fever took Mama away 2 years ago, leaving Lily alone with her father, Elias Hawthorne, a man whose once kind eyes had turned hard as flint under the weight of deadened despair. Elias wasn't a bad man, not at first, but the ranch was failing, cattle dying from drought, bills piling up like tumbleweeds in a storm. He'd started drinking, his temper flaring like wildfire, and Lily had learned to hide in the barn loft when his boots thumped heavily on the porch. But today was different. A stranger had arrived at dawn, riding a black stallion that snorted steam in the cool morning air. He called himself Jack Harlan, a rancher from Wyoming with a scar running down his cheek like a lightning bolt and eyes that gleamed with unspoken greed. Harlan wasn't here for cattle, he was here for a deal Elias had whispered about in drunken rants, a way to settle the debts that threatened to swallow the ranch whole. Lily peeked from behind the barn door as the two men shook hands, Harlan's voice low and gravelly. "You sure about this, Hawthorne?" "She's just a slip of a girl." Elias nodded, his face ashen, avoiding Lily's gaze even though he knew she was watching. "Ain't no choice. Take her, work her on your spread. She's strong for her age." Lily's heart pounded like a trapped rabbit's. They were talking about her, selling her like a heifer at auction. Panic surged through her veins. She couldn't leave the ranch, couldn't abandon the only home she'd known, the grave where Mama lay under the old oak tree. As Harlan approached, his boots crunching on the gravel, Lily burst from her hiding spot, tears streaming down her dirt-streaked cheeks. "Please, mister," she sobbed, thrusting Betsy forward with trembling hands. "Can you take her instead of me? Betsy's good, she don't eat much, and she won't complain none." Harlan stopped, his scar twitching as he looked down at the child and her doll. He said nothing, his silence heavier than the Montana sky before a thunderstorm. Then, without a word, he scooped Lily up under one arm, grabbed Betsy with the other, and strode toward his horse. Elias turned away, shame burning in his cheeks, but he didn't stop them. Harlan tied Lily to the saddle like a sack of feed, Betsy clutched in her lap, and rode off into the dust, leaving the Hawthorne ranch shrinking in the distance like a bad dream. The journey to Harlan's spread took 3 days, crossing rivers swollen from spring melt and plains where coyotes howled at night. Lily cried herself hoarse the first night, but Harlan was surprisingly gentle. He fed her jerky and biscuits, wrapped her in his coat against the chill, and spoke little, his voice a rumble when he did. "Life's full of hard choices, kid. Your pa made his." But Lily sensed something off about him, a darkness lurking behind his quiet demeanor. On the second night, around a crackling campfire, he stared into the flames and muttered about his own lost daughter, taken by outlaws years ago, her doll the only thing left behind. "Looked just like you," he said, eyes distant. Lily shivered. Was that why he took her? To replace a ghost? They arrived at Harlan's ranch under a blood-red sunset, a sprawling empire of green pastures and sturdy barns, far grander than her father's crumbling homestead. But the welcome was cold. Harlan's wife, Martha, a stern woman with lips pursed like she'd swallowed vinegar, eyed Lily with suspicion. "Another stray," she sneered. Harlan ignored her, showing Lily to a small room in the attic, Betsy's button eyes watching from the bed. "You'll work the chores, earn your keep," he said gruffly. "But no harm'll come to you here." Days blurred into weeks. Lily milked cows at dawn, gathered eggs, and scrubbed floors until her hands bled. Martha was harsh, slapping her for spills, but Harlan intervened once, his voice thunderous. "Touch her again, and you'll regret it." Lily wondered about that. Why protect her? She overheard whispers from the ranch hands about Harlan's past. A former sheriff turned rancher after a botched raid left his family dead. Rumors of buried gold from his lawman days, hidden somewhere on the land. One night, unable to sleep, Lily crept downstairs and found Harlan poring over an old map by lantern light, muttering about the cash. Her foot creaked on a floorboard, and he whirled, gun in hand, but lowered it when he saw her. Can't sleep, Come here. He showed her the map, a faded parchment marking spots in the nearby canyons. This is my secret, kid. Gold from bandits I took down. Enough to buy 10 ranches. Lily's eyes widened. Why tell me? Harlan chuckled darkly. 'Cause you're like her, my Annie. She loved stories of treasure. But as months passed, twists unraveled like frayed rope. Lily discovered letters in Harlan's desk, correspondence with Elias, revealing the deal was a ruse. Harlan wasn't buying her, he was rescuing her. Elias had begged him to take Lily away, fearing his debts would draw dangerous creditors who might harm her. Keep her safe, the letter pleaded. I'll pay you back somehow. Harlan, haunted by his own loss, had agreed, taking Betsy too as a symbol. But Martha knew none of this. She grew jealous, suspecting Harlan favored Lily over their barren marriage. One stormy night, Martha confronted him. She's not yours. Send her back. In the chaos, a lantern tipped, fire licking the barn. Lily, hearing screams, rushed out with Betsy, pulling Harlan from the flames as Martha fled into the night. The ranch burned, but the gold map survived. With the hands, help, they rebuilt, and Harlan adopted Lily legally, revealing another twist. He was her uncle, Elias's estranged brother, separated by a family feud long ago. Elias arrived weeks later, sober and remorseful, the debts cleared by Harlan's gold. I couldn't protect you, he admitted to Lily. She forgave him, hugging Betsy tight. But the final twist came when Martha returned, not with apologies, but with outlaws, Harlan's old enemies, seeking the gold. In a showdown under the full moon, Lily, brave beyond her years, used the doll to distract them, hiding a derringer inside Betsy's stuffing, a gift from Harlan. Shots rang out, villains fell, and peace settled over the ranch. Years later, Lily grew into a strong woman, running the spread with her fathers, Elias and Harlan, side by side. The plea that started it all became legend, a little girl's offer of a doll that saved them all. And in the quiet evenings, she'd whisper to Betsy, we took each other, didn't we? The end, but echoes lingered in the wind-swept plains.